gorgeous cousin and her foster child here in North Carolina. At the time of this recording, it is May 11th, 2024. So, okay, how's it going, everybody? Are we behaving? Are we striving to get onto the side of the railroad tracks where the land and milk and honey can be ascertained? Because that matters. You know, I really want to stress here that yesterday, the day before yesterday's video was about, would you know if a Nazi terrorist came to recruit you and your family? Because I really want to stress upon the public here is that, you know, for the most part, our academic system has been whitewashed. The malignancy of what happened during World War II with Adolf Hitler was so horrific, was so detrimental to the public at large that they made concentration camps for that. And if you've read the book Anne Frank, you would have to be a monster to not have felt for the state of the era at that particular time frame. You know, and if you haven't researched the Milgram experiment, M-I-L-G-R-A-M, it's time you did that. Because that is what is playing out right now within the context of our own society. Because they were just following orders, weren't they? You know, the Nazis. Well, you know, let's put it this way. They may have been following the law, but helping people escape genocide was against the law, wasn't it? So we have to take into perspective the balance of ethical measure, the balance of human life, or just life in general, because what's happening now within the context of our era, the presence of all of this gang stalking, this is a replay of history on a different terrain, being subterfuge, being stealth. So if you're not aware of the pertinent history as it is, you're the ripe pickings for being a sitting duck. So my objective data, you know, something that you can see in the environment, something you can, you know, taste, touch, feel, observe, would be objective data versus subjective data. Somewhere along the lines, they both have to be met with the tempered of balance, because there's these psyop assignments that when I say they, it is the infrastructure of all of this Nazi terrorism. So this is this is terrorism, people. Everybody enacting the psyop assignment, prostitute, hoeing out your ethics with being able to make a little something in exchange for your integrity. That's called terrorism. It's community-based harassment. But with regards to the dumbing down of our academic system, I challenge everybody, ask 10 recent graduates what the meaning of the Berlin Wall means to them. What does the meaning of the Oregon Trail of Tears mean to them? That's in direct correlation with the dumbing down of America. So while not everyone may have a knee-jerk association with it, now is a good time to research that, because that's more or less what's playing out in our society right now. All of this business of Nazi terrorism is courtesy of Project Paperclip, which siphoned in 2,000 Nazis that should have been executed during the Nuremberg trials. Nuremberg trials was done for all of the all of those who were in violation of crimes against humanity. Because had these 2,000 rat bastards that were siphoned in been held accountable, they would have been hung. And instead, they were given positions of authority throughout every vein of America. And over generations, since the World War, now we have an infection known as Nazi terrorism. So I'm looking at the expansion pack of what it means to be a Nazi terrorist, because what's been happening is the smoke and mirrors of subterfuge, making things go stealth with confusion about giving things the appropriate names, such as the non-investigated terrorist watch list is a misnomer in of itself. Non-investigated terrorist watch list is a misnomer, because it is saying, well, we have these list of suspected terrorists, but you know what? We're going to put you on a non-investigative watch list. Non-investigative? That's a misnomer. That's the one that says, fuck these guys over. Let's use these guys to procure the sacrifice system of keeping the wheels going, keeping the wheels running, because that honorary list says you're doomed, says these are the ones we are going to terrorize to death using PSYOP assignments, using the citizens at large. It's like the Manchurian candidate that doesn't know it's a Manchurian candidate is leagues more innocent than you Nazi terrorists, the ones that have allowed themselves to be sucked into this horrific white glove Holocaust. That is the ideology of Project Paperclip, siphoning in 2,000 Nazis. Moreover than that, Dr. Mengele was siphoned in there. So if you don't know Dr. Mengele, that needs to be household knowledge. Look him up. He is known as the Black Angel of Death. He is known as one of the premier physicians at Auschwitz, which is a concentration camp. He was so diabolic in nature. His job was just to do experiments, right? One of the experiments was, oh, look, here's a newborn baby, picks it up, throws it against the wall to see how long it would take to die. That is your godfather, bitches. So everybody that is doing PSYOP assignments, you are a Nazi terrorist. You are Nazi by honorary indoctrination of being Team Judas. So while the end game, the end result is to create death, is to cause somebody to implode from the inside out, is another word for suicide. And then, to catalyze depression with all of these oppressive tactics of PSYOP assignments, everybody enacting that not only is a Nazi terrorist, not only is a PSYOP assignment prostitute, but you guys are a suicide squad. Suicide squad. How do you like that? Do you like being the suicide squad that of this wireless, touchless, fenceless white glove Holocaust? Because, the white glove Holocaust is like killing people without actually putting them in a concentration camp, physical locale. Because right now there are about 8 to 900 FEMA prisons that were erected status post-COVID. My prophecy, I'm going to prophesy that those FEMA prison camps that at one time where media was not allowed to enter to disclose, it might have changed, might not have. That's going to be the prison for all you rat bastards. bastards enabling, enacting the suicide squad, enacting the Nazi terrorism, enacting the community-based harassment of organized crime, of organized hate crime, PSYOP assignments. Everybody participating in that by doing the dastardly with the gaslighting, that's a PSYOP assignment. And moreover than that, the fact that you guys are coached to do that, stick to the script, right? Stick to the script. That makes you an honorary Nazi by being the suicide squad. Just because you didn't physically lay into somebody, you guys are doing crimes against humanity with all the psychological warfare. That makes you evil and vile. And let's not even talk about all the families that have indoctrinated their children to be loose of morals, to abandon their principles for the sake of the unholy grub down, right? As long as you can get money, 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 money. That's all that matters, right? Never mind the generational curses you guys are sowing directly right into your bloodline, as long as you get money for the now. But what you did was fuck over your future generations, because future generations in your bloodline are going to have to work out the sins that you have imposed upon them, just so you can earn the more bang for your buck. And you can't even tell between cursed money or upright, ethical money, because all of this heyday is coming to a grinding halt, because it's already grinded its halt in the spirit, but it's going to have to trickle down before you guys that are enacting this finally get a clue, because you're going to see freak storms, freak accidents, freak acts of God. Because this infestation, at a cursory educated guess, I would say it was easily 1/3 of the populace by now. I mean, what's up, Houston, Texas, and Dallas, Fort Worth, et al.? You guys got the real suicide squad in numbers, don't you? Because there's been quite a few of you coming after my ass, looking at me like I'm the social pariah, when you guys were duped right out of your soul, snatched right out of your own Jiminy Cricket of conscience. But it takes awareness. You're going to have to be smarter than the average Matrix agent, because this white Holocaust with the suicide squad enacting all of this PSYOP assignment prostitution, you guys are Nazis. You guys are Nazis. And moreover than that, metaphorically, you guys are Matrix agents. Because the whole idea is to get people to lower their vibratory frequency. I mean, because whenever all of this insidious PSYOP assignments going on around us like freaking bombs over Baghdad, it takes a huge discipline of spirit to rise above it and stay above it. That's why holding on to your joy is a spiritual battle. Because the moment that you look sad, scared, or depressed, and somebody tries to run a successful homicide hit on you, they're just going to turn around and say it was suicide, because you were already beside yourself. You were depressed. It is insidious, because this is evil, vile stuff, people. So if you got duped into it, you got to get right with yourself. You have to have that come to Jesus talk with yourself and your family. Because at the end of the day, nobody is perfect. But if you want to keep your head in the sand like an ostrich and not deal with it, you are accountable for teaching your children how to be parasites. You need to double back reform them, and admit to being wrong. Because nobody's perfect. Because somebody's going to have to take a stand and become the prodigal son, the prodigal daughter, the prodigal family that comes back home. And for everybody fighting to hold on to your valor and every temptation to lose your cool, I know that God sees you. I know the Almighty sees you. And there is a special anointing in that. Especially if you have to go homeless just not to entertain the wiles of those foolish Suicide Squad members. It is a battle better fought that way, losing all of your stuff from an upright position. So whenever the karma comes back to roll out its rewards, you're on the top of the wheel of fortune instead of getting creamed by it, you know? I mean, we all have our roles to play. I mean, mine was getting slandered 9 ways from Sunday. So the best defense to this is that if somebody's slandering someone and comes to you with it, shut them down and be like, hey, if you really believe that, why don't you put it on paper and get it notarized and then come back and tell me about it? See how long that takes for its turnaround time. And being notarized is just saying you have your name on a document and your birth date, and the notary is supposed to look at your driver's license and make sure that your name matches up with it. Boom, notarized. It's just to make sure that you are who you say you are and you wrote that. And then now you have an affidavit. You have a documentation of your beliefs. So unless somebody can provide a notarized copy and allows you to take a picture with it, they're just blowing smoke up your ass. Because one of the crux components of this white glove holocaust is plausible deniability and stonewalling. Because all of these accusations done behind the target's back, they're never addressed to the target. It's like stonewall the target from all of this heinous, alleged acts of atrocities of devaluing somebody, of defaming somebody, of slandering them, or never told shit. So it's like getting judged by your peers without the sake of a jury, without the sake of a court. I mean, we're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. So if somebody is running the PSYOP game, you as a citizen, you as an upright, ethical person of morality need to shut that shit down. And if it's bad enough, you need to report that. Because if you don't report your findings, you are enabling the white glove holocaust on somebody. That makes you a participant. So if you don't like the idea of having to go report it, blame the bloke that casted the burden upon you. Because you will be judged as if you were the one propagating the slander. That's how that works. That is the state of our country. These are Nazi tactics. These are the Stasi way of living back in the 1940s during World War II while the active concentration camps were active. And all of your targets were all Anne Frank, honey. You have to grasp that, because if you are ethical in nature, you got to know what you got yourself into. Because if we never had this talk, who would? So you don't have to stay in the land of down under of being the Nazi terrorist. You can turn your own tide of fortune. You can turn your own tide of fate by telling the truth with videotaping your confessions and your observations. Upload them to proper public platforms, and then write it down, sign and date it with your name and your birth date and your signature. Take that to a notary, have it notarized, and then mail them registered mail So you have proof that you did that and put the tracking number and the ID number on the body of the letter itself. And then coordinate meetings and interviews with the people in charge and hand deliver the document with the copy of the registration mail information. That's how you do that. And that's how you stay alive. And that's how we turn the tide and making people accountable for the existence of this targeting of the individual, of this godforsaken Nazi heritage brought in by Project Paperclip, of all of the Dr. Mengele godchildren running around over here. I say godchildren, you know, of his prodigy. Anyways, I mean, like the Black Angel of Death, little evil bastard children. And so it is important that we understand and understand what this Nazi agent BS is about. It is Suicide Squad. It's a suicide squad. All of these people are dispatched to run PSYOP assignments, becoming prostitutes, hoeing out their integrity, hoeing out their ethics, and hoeing out their morality. They're two-faced. Everybody participating in all of this are two-faced MFs. So there's teachers, there's lawyers, there's doctors, there's nurses. Remember, it's a diabolical machine that at its root base are covens. I mean, it's so diabolic because it is. It's evil because it is. And it's been so good at it being evil and being stealth that through the advancement of technology, we're just now figuring it out. For reals. There's been others who've known about it for quite some time, but now what we know about it in the media is targeting of the individual, which is group stalking, which is gang stalking, which is a white glove holocaust without the courtesy of an actual prison camp. But everybody that has been enacting the PSYOP assignment prostitute with being the Suicide Squad, I prophesy and I speak forth that you guys will be relegated into jail that way. Because there's going to be an overflow of jail. But thankfully, these Nazis had already been so thoughtful to erect these female prison camps. We'll just put you in there. Hashtag true story. I call it, I mark it, and so forth, and therefore, so mote be. But everybody needs to have the awareness of what it is to be a Suicide Squad. You guys are Nazis, and at its very basic, its core, is Matrix agents aimed at lowering people's frequencies. So if they can lower your frequency, you know, from being a high viber to, you know, clinically depressed, then the other tactics can stick, such as spell work, hacking the energetic state of the 5D, which translates into hacking the quantum to make you more susceptible to more burdens, to more spiritual attacks. Because if you're high vibing, the spell work don't mean shit. And if you're high vibing, all of their other antics that they try to throw at you don't mean shit. That's why the Matrix agents do all of this Suicide Squad BS with all of the PSYOP assignments that they prostitute their souls out for. But it's important to understand and understand that this is a Nazi heritage playing out. That this is an authentic Nazi ideology of history playing out. Courtesy of Project Paperclip. So, to all the Suicide Squad battalions out there, y'all's days are numbered. And if you thought you were really, if you really were deluded in your mind to think you were doing something good, the Bible never says approach thy neighbor with deceit, you were duped. And somewhere along the line, you just didn't care anymore and decided to feed your family from cursed funds. Not to mention the generational curses you had sown into your own brood. So wake up, hit reset. You don't have to stay there unless you're too pussy to fix it. I mean, the whole thing is done based on cowardice from the shadows with throwing the rocks and hiding the backstabbing hands. I mean, it's a Nazi for you. They ain't got no integrity. So it's been Patricia Ann Landon Regali coming at you from my beloved cousin Lori in her beautiful home in the state here in North Carolina. Peace. Bye for now.
Beautiful.